What is up, guys? It's CM back again with another tank review for you. Today we got the Ferdy. Recently 3-marked this on stream, finished this off on the Saturday just before recording and uploading this for you. Tier 8 German tank destroyer. Now, gonna expect what you guys are gonna say ahead of time. You guys are saying, "Ah, oh, Ferdy-ish, not good tank, no armor, slow." Actually, this thing's pretty good. I actually had a really good time with this tank, which actually was really nice to play after finishing 3-marking the absolute trash fire that was the Emil 1. Now, this tank, people are going to look at its armor to begin with and think, oh, but it gets penned all the time. No, it's not good. Well, that's actually pretty far from the truth. This thing is actually fantastic. I really liked this thing. So we're going to start off with the base stats, then I'll show you my recommended loadout. Obviously this is going to be using a decent crew, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to start with the weaponry. You've got your standard 128mm gun that you find on other German TDs of the tier, the same 128mm gun that you find on the Rheinmetall Borsig and the Scorpion G, and also on the Jagdpanther 2. So you've got 490 alpha damage on your AP and APCR shells for 246 AP and 311mm APCR pen. Your HE 65mm pen for 630 average damage as well. This gun is pretty accurate. I generally found that most of the time shots would go roughly where you want them to. Obviously, like with any tank, there's the potential for shots to kind of go wide or go like nowhere near where you aim because RNG. But generally this gun behaved pretty well. And obviously being a 128, you can overmatch the Swedish TDs. There's obviously anything that's a 40mm plate or thinner you can overmatch for free. So that's pretty nice. The gun handling stats are actually not even that bad. You've got 0.19 when moving or turning the tank, 0.08 turning the turret. Well, it's not really a turret, it's more just the gun itself. 0.34 base dispersion, well, 0.35 technically, this is with a 100% crew. 2.21 second aim time, down from 2.3 base. 2.6k DPM to start with, which is pretty nice. So you reload at 11 seconds base. With my setup, I got this down to about 9.3 seconds, which is pretty damn nice. Shell velocity on AP is 920 meters a second, which is not bad, and on APCR, flies at 1150. Obviously, premium ammo is going to cost you a whack of credits, so expect that. Your base top speed is 30 kilometers an hour and 10 in reverse. You've got a 12.5 horsepower per ton power to weight, and your tank will turn at 21.9 degrees a second. Now that doesn't sound great, but it's not going to matter because I'll show you why in a moment, because we're going to get better than that. Terrain resistances aren't anything special, they're not the worst, they're not the best. Gun depression, 8 degrees, 14 degrees of elevation, so relatively flexible there. You can turn your gun 15 degrees either side, which is not awful either. Now, everything else, we've got the armor here. It says 200 on the front, but we're gonna see some weak spots for sure. I'll show you those after we've gone over these stats. 80mm on the side and 80 on the rear. 1500 health, which is really nice. And although the tracks are actually kind of difficult to break with a single shot, I always found that this ammo rack, for some reason, got made yellow with single shot from even small guns like 75mm quite frequently, which was kind of annoying here and there. Like, it was like every second match almost. Like, if I got shot anywhere just randomly in the side, my ammo rack would go yellow, which was a little frustrating, but that's more to do with the RNG system on module damage being borked as all hell. Camo, you don't really have much because it's a bit of a chonky boy when it comes to TDs. You can get this up a little higher with camo skill and camo paint, so keep that in mind. And 370 meters base view range is pretty nice as well. I mean, you can, with crew skills and equipment, get this to a good level. So we're going to throw on crew skills next. Gonna put camouflage paint on. That brings the camo to actually pretty nice level already. Brothers in Arms. I do have the camo skill on most of the crew, so I'm gonna put that on as well. Recon. I don't actually have off-road driving on that crew, so we're not gonna put that on. Smooth driving. I do have snapshot and clutch braking on that crew. I do have situational awareness, and I do have safe stowage. I do run food on this. Actually, I didn't actually find that this thing caught fire that often. I think I only had one fire in the entire 3-mark grind, from 0 games to when I finished. I think it was around 86 games, roughly. Then for equipment, I put a gun rammer in the first slot. Then I actually ran Bond optics on this thing. That's just me. I was running this because I had them, and it helped me in terms of being able to then slap on turbo. This is what I used. This is exactly the setup that I used. So it gives me a good view range of just under 475 meters. Top speed goes up to 34. Reverse goes up to 12. And your power to weight, you gain about 1.3 extra horsepower per ton. Your tank turns quicker, better ground resistances, you name it. Your DPM with this setup goes up to over 3100. 9.3 second reload, really, really nice. And your dispersion goes down to 3.31, which, yeah, that's pretty nice. And your gun does aim pretty quickly. So I found that this was one of the more optimal ways. If you don't have Bond equipment, if you don't have the Bond optics, you can still use either the bounty ones or the regular ones and still get, reasonable view range. So there we go, with regular optics there you got 460, which is still not bad at all for a tank like this. And moving on to the armor now, so you guys can see, this is your 200mm plate here on the upper superstructure. You do have another one here and another one here. So pretty much, even if you angle these, the best you're going to get is around 220 to 230 on average, maybe 240 on this plate. But it's not really going to save you that much. It'll bounce here and there occasionally. Angling obviously will, troll people into shooting like bad angles here and there, or shooting your gun mantlet. No one's really going to go through this mantlet. This is a really good gun mantlet. Like, really, really strong. Like, if you're pointing this at someone, like, there's a tiny 200mm like pixel there. They're not hitting that. I've never had anyone go through the gun mantlet of this. It is also pretty big, but don't expect it to save you all the time. You do have 2 glaring weak spots here and here as well, so people are probably going to shoot those if you try and side scrape. But what I usually found is if you time it just right, you can pull back into cover in time to get that bounce off on the side armor. And just expect people to also try and shoot your superstructure before they even get a shot on these little shoulders. This little plate here, if you're slightly below someone, does become a weak spot as well. You see there. That's only 80mm thick as well. Your lower plate is also only 80mm thick. That's very, very weak. Everything that you meet will be able to pen that lower plate and those shoulders. Everything you meet. Even some tier 6s with some of their stock guns, you'd have no trouble going through those. Also keep in mind that your engine deck and your superstructure roof are only 30mm thick, so those can be overmatched. If someone's slightly above you, like at this kind of angle, then if they can hit those, then they'll probably overmatch them if they've got a gun that's over 90mm in caliber. Another thing to consider is that you see these little angled bits here and here. Those are at a really awkward spot where if you're pointing straight forward, people can track and pen you with any gun that's over 75mm in caliber. They can also just pen it outright as well, so keep that in mind. It's not an easy shot, it's not that likely to happen, but just bear in mind it's there, and it's absolutely possible. You can actually see that little darker area there as we angle the tank. That's only 25mm, that plate. So keep that in mind when you are either coming around corners or going like above anyone, or even just going straight towards someone, there is a chance if they get lucky that the shot might go into there and track and pen you with the same shot. So yeah, that's the armor for the 30. Not really that much to go over here. Just there's a lot of guns that'll pen you, but you do have a little bit. So if you're against like lower pen guns, lower tiers, then you can absolutely still bounce shots with this thing. It doesn't happen all that often, but it can. It's enough to keep you safe from artillery a lot of the time as well. If they hit you frontally, it's not that bad compared to, say, the Emil, which had, yeah, that thing suffered. Alright, moving on. We've got a replay on Westfield for you guys. This match, this is actually my best match in this tank, and I feel this gives you an idea of both like the kind of mobility that you can expect from this thing using turbo, as well as how to play bushes on this map. You can absolutely snipe. You can absolutely see the consistency of the gun. So I'm just gonna fast forward because we're just gonna go up straight into this bush here. I always knock down this little tree here, like this, because doing that does give you that little bit more vertical cover. Not so much forwards and backwards, but vertical, which is important because if you're in a taller tank like this is, then if you're not careful, then people can spot you over bushes. So we're just waiting around for enemy team to get him to position. So you can see that the 53 TP and the Emil are fighting around there. TS5 and Tiger 2 also on that corner. We're not going to get shots at them just yet. Now I do have APCR loaded because I was like, at this point, I don't have any faith in my team, really. So, in my teams, because I wasn't having the best of evenings. This was on stream, but yeah, this turned out to be pretty good. Also, I felt, well, it's a TS5 there, that has a chance to bounce. That was a very lucky shot on the side of the Emil turret. That clipped his turret just enough to overmatch the 30mm on the side. So we're just waiting for the TS5 or the 50 TP or the Tiger 2 to make a mistake here. Very lucky shot on the side of the TS5 there, that was on the front. But it's important that we get shots in on that guy, because that guy can absolutely, like, TS5s can absolutely tear apart teams at times. Emil 1 peeking there. We're not going to get the pen on him. I actually aimed that pretty poorly. I should have aimed a little further left, and there would have been a higher chance of actually penning the parts of his turret that weren't as well armored. Nice shot into the lower plate there of the TS5. He tries for the blind shot, misses. He goes unspotted. He's not getting spotted by my team. I'm being careful here because I don't know if the 53 TP or the Emil can spot me if I go forward. Now I'm expecting the TS5 to pop up on my right a little closer. Emil is peeking again. He pulls back. Yeah, there's the TS5 there. Fortunately for us though, he is going to go down to, I think, the Caravan or the E75. E75 TS, there we go. That's really good for us, because that means there's no chance of him being able to farm my heavies, and no chance of him ever spotting me. Indian Panzer pops up on the little hill there. That's a position that we want to be dealing with, so nice easy shot into him. I didn't need APCR for this, but at the same time, I was just kind of going full... Like, I've got, like, focus on targets mode rather than focus on what ammo I'm firing, you know? Emil tries to take a blind shot at us, bounces off of, I think that was our superstructure. The standard ammo on that tank is terrible. Finish off the Indian Panzer. We don't really want people getting away. Seeing if the 50 TP is going to peek here, but he's staying behind that ridge. Tiger 2 is peeking as well. Do we have the shot on him? Yes, we do. Nice and easy into the turret side. Low roll for 409. Emil is poking again. We're going to finish him off here. We can't have him doing that. So Scorpion is running away here. I don't get the shot on him. At this point, however, I'm just thinking, okay, wait for the Scorpion to run away and then move forward and support the E75. I'm thinking here, okay, Scorpion's gone. Let's go and get rid of this 53 TP so then we actually secure this side of the map. Because things are not looking great on the other side. And you can see here that this thing's not actually that slow with the turbo on. It's not fast, but we can actually move from one place to the other surprisingly quick. And then this guy's going to be caught out of position. Put one shot into him. He does get a shot back on us. That was a hell of a snapshot. But unfortunately for him, we're just going to push forward and reload because he's not paying any attention to us anymore. There he goes. Now that we've secured the north of the map, looking to move into the middle to try and start dealing with this Super Pershing and likely the Scorpion as well, who's probably nearby. Take some damage from, I think that was the G-Sor who did that shot. G-Sor has taken a lot of damage himself. There is the Scorpion. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to do anything to save that guy right now. Artie gets a shot in on the Scorpion, only does a couple of hundred. And at this point, I'm just trying to get the spot off on these guys so then my teammates can maybe try and get some shots on them, maybe friendly artillery. Again, I'm not really thinking about what ammo I'm using here. I'm more thinking, okay, what do I need to do to spot these guys to get the damage done? Because remember, I was going for gun marks here as well. So I was thinking, what can I do best to help the team whilst also, you know, getting some progress for my own goal as well. And this brings me on to another point about 3 marking. Whenever you're playing for 3 marks, you're going for a combined assistance and damage figure. So you're always looking for opportunities to either track or spot people in any tank that you're playing. Obviously in tank destroyers there's a lot of occasions where you're going to be sniping because not all of them have the ability to really be aggressive, or not all of them have good base view range. So I do get spotted there. I'm pretty sure that was the Super Pershing that spotted me. So I think, okay, he's going to keep spotting me on that corner. They might also be pre-aimed on that corner now from like behind a couple of layers of bushes. So I decide, let's relocate, let's move around. They didn't spot me going there, so why not just go all the way around these houses, give myself all the hard cover in the universe in order to get into a better spot to see them from. M4190 gets spotted there. We do take one shot from the Super Pershing, but we get rid of their scout, which is very, very important. Or one of their scouts, rather. That still leaves the LT-432 in this match. Super Pershing tries for the blind shot. That does bounce off of our superstructure there. And he takes another blind shot, but fortunately for us, we're nowhere near where he can hit us now. Once again, relocating, trying to get the angle on these guys to spot them. Friendly SDA-1 is heading down the 1 line now. He's looking to try and get towards the enemy base, albeit fairly slow. While also looking for opportunities to shoot the enemy tanks while we go for the spot. Now I realize I don't spot anything on that corner. I also don't get spotted in return, so I move up to the next house. And I use this little bush here to give myself a tiny bit of cover through a bush before that guy rolls out. Get the initial spot, get the shot on him. STA does get a shot on his side as well. That makes that guy low health. He gets respotted by the 75 who puts a good shot in. Is Artie going to finish him here? Someone going to finish him? Artie gets him. Unfortunately, our G-Sor and our Object 416 have been taken down by the combination of the LT-432 and the Type 59G. The Scorpion's still alive as well, so we don't know what he's doing. He might have gotten a shot on those guys. 416 pinging G0, expecting the Type and LT to both be there. Currently moving in to these bushes to try and get spots out in that direction. Maybe spot anyone going across the right. Now at this point, the STA, I get the STA to try and go into the cap circle, so we're going to speed this up a little bit. Currently relocating, trying to get spots again from the middle. But then I think, okay, Type, the STA is going there. I say to him, look, I can cover you, capping. Just to let him know that I can actually help. Moving up to these bushes here to try and get some spot spotting a cross against where the Type 59 might be. LT-432 spotted going for our artillery now. So just keeping an eye out here, because I'm never going to be able to get that LT-432 with the mobility of this tank. So I see the Scorpion over there and I think, okay, well, maybe I should go back that way and try and deal with both of those guys. But then the STA starts getting shot by the Type from up on that hill. STA is pinging up there, as is the E75 TS. So now I'm moving back into another bush. I actually use this one here. This is more just to get the initial spot. There he is. In the open. Accidentally slide and knock that down, but he doesn't spot us and we get the spotting on him. Put a shot into his upper plate. He doesn't spot us again. Maybe he had a dead commander. That finishes him off. Now looking to see if the LT or the Scorpion are trying to go around this way. Just going to speed things up again. Asking the team for their health. Let's see if they're at one shot. LT is a one shot for us. Not so much the Scorpion on 954. Now the LT gets spotted down there. There he is on 120, exactly as 416 said. We try and get the shot, and this is really unlucky. That was just a tiny bit short. That went a tiny bit low. Fortunately, though, he's going to try and run, but the E75 TS just blaps him right in the side. Good shot from him. And now we're looking for the Scorpion, but spoiler alert, we're not going to find him just yet. So I say that I've got HE ready, and then I ping the cap, and I say for all of us to go to the cap circle. Because there's not much time left. So we all make it to the cap circle in plenty of time to cap as well, so all three of us are here. But we're going to get a little bit of a surprise. I'm thinking the Scorpion is coming from up there, along the K line. But we're going to get a little surprise. Because he's on K1! Well, he gets blapped once by one of my teammates here. I think it's E75, yep, E75. And then we get the HE pen to finish it off. And that is the game. So we got basically everything you see there. 5,881 damage, 791 spotting, 5 kills. Obviously, that was an ace tanker. But this also shows you that you do have the power to relocate with this tank. You do have the power to push forward at times and support your team. And this does work pretty well on city maps as well, where, you know, if an enemy tank shoots at one of your teammates and bounces, you can then take the opportunity to quickly get a shot off on them before they can get back into cover. And then you can pull back as well before they reload. Or alternatively, if your team track them at a bad angle, you can very easily punish them with this gun. Don't expect to bounce shots, but if you play the support role in the city maps, or if you play the kind of semi-aggressive role, like say maybe just a tiny bit behind them, you can do really well with this tank. It's definitely not going to be one where you're going to be sniping on every map. This is one of those ones where technically we were second line, actually. We were not that far from our heavies the entire game. So we were able to support them and deal an obscene amount of damage with this gun. We kept it firing basically the entire game. And so, yeah, absolutely would say this is actually a decent tank. And once you get into a rhythm of how to use it, it's fantastic. When you realize where you can go and support your team to the utmost, like to get your most out of it, this tank can actually be a threat. People underestimate this tank a lot, and I can definitely understand why. The armor is not good. That's actually where the 53 TP snapshot is. That was basically 200mm straight on. His gun does have the pen to go through that flat on, and that's exactly what happened there. And so yeah, expect that to happen. But at the same time, if you can put yourself in positions where you can support your team, either up close or from mid-range, this tank will serve you well. Especially if you've got some hard cover. And yeah, definitely. I had a good time. Slapping turbo in this thing was the right thing to do, because it basically removes all the negatives in terms of mobility. Just don't don't expect it to be a Ferrari, you know? Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this little review. Hope you guys learned something. And until the next one, peace out, guys.